Hello, you right, Joe and Liz, and anyone else who's watching? How you doing? It's good to see you. I'm trying to be a bit more cheery because normally, like when I watch back on my video, I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, this is what I'm gonna say today. So, yep, that's my impression of me. Yep, I loved your videos, Liz and Joe. Absolutely fantastic. Joe, very different, like with the whole yeah, Joe basically like took pictures and put a soundtrack to it and did text on it. I thought it was really good, and yeah, love both of your posts for different reasons. Liz, I thought your one on War was really interesting, and it definitely got me thinking about stuff. So yeah, keep up the good work, guys. Sorry I'm late again. It is Tuesday, and I was due to do one yesterday. It's been really busy a week lately with Operation Christmas Child. But yeah, I will keep trying to do it on the Monday. Being late is something that seems to be a theme in my post, so sorry. But yeah, to get on with what I'm going to talk about. Yeah, I hope you guys don't mind me doing this, but I'm just going to talk about whatever I'm interested in at the time. So there isn't really going to be any running theme to my posts. It's just whatever I think of. So I don't know if that'll work or if people will really want to follow that, but I find it quite therapeutic for me to just say what I'm thinking. So yeah, talking about David today. David was, I think, probably the greatest king of Israel. I don't know if that's right, but Israel went through many kings. Lots did bad, lots did good. David was incredible. Some of the victories that he did. He's best known for defeating Goliath. You know, David and Goliath. So yeah, most people know about him. The thing I was gonna read today was well, it's not really reading scripture. I'm more gonna talk about it more than I'm gonna read, which I don't know if it's a bad time, but that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, I'm just gonna get on with it. So yeah, I'm looking at 2 Samuel 6. Let's have a look. Right, okay, yeah. So to give some context, David brought the ark back into Jerusalem. He's pretty chuffed about that. On the way, someone died because they put their hand on the ark accidentally, and God's anger rose up against that person. They died, and David was angry about that. They had to stop off at someone's house, and so yeah, just to give it some context, they finally got the Ark of the Covenant, which at that time had the presence of God on it and was like the symbol of God's power for Israel. Everywhere they went, if they took the Ark with them, it meant that they won the battle. And yeah, the Ark of the Covenant was in Jerusalem, which is like capital of Israel. I don't know, it's like the main place. I am a bit ignorant in some of these areas, so sorry. But yeah, so he's just got it back. Yeah, and I'll just read it. So it says, "And so it was, when those bearing the ark of the Lord had gone 6 paces, that he sacrificed oxen and fatted sheep. Then David danced before the Lord with all his might, and David was wearing a linen ephod. So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with the shouting and with the sound of the trumpet." So yeah, I've heard, do you know what, I should probably look this up myself, but someone's told me that a linen ephod is like basically like boxers of the day, I think. So it's like linen and it's wrapped around, so that's all he was wearing. Was, I would say it's like he was in his boxers. And so, something that just strikes me about this that is incredible is David, yeah, it says he dances with all his might. So I mean, I've danced in church quite a lot before, and there have been times where I think I have danced with all my might, and you do get some funny looks from people because you're like, they're a bit like, why is he dancing like a mentalist? And I was thinking, God, what would that look like if I did it in my boxers in church? God, yeah, I mean that's and I'm thinking, right, sorry, I'm a bit erratic sometimes. I'm thinking, I'm willing to dance in church with Christians, right? And I get funny looks and I get people say some stuff to me. Imagine if you were the king of the mightiest like nation at that time. So you are the most important man of the world. Everything you say kind of like has impact. And then you go and dance in the street with your boxers on. And in the world of politics today, I watch 24 and West Wing and shows like that. If you're the president of the United States, you just don't do that. The amount of criticism you're opening yourself up to, the amount of trouble you're going to do, what sort of message does that send if your enemies hear that you're dancing in the streets like half naked? It's not good. And the people I mean, the rumours that would spread and things like that. It's just not something you do. So anyway, as you read on, it says, so they brought the ark of the Lord and set it in its place in the midst of the tabernacle that David had erected for it. Then David offered burnt offerings, and he blessed the people in the name of the Lord of hosts. Then he distributed among all the people, among the whole multitude of Israel, both the women and the men, to everyone a loaf of bread, a piece of meat, and a cake of raisins. So all the people departed, everyone to his house. Don't know the significance of that, but basically I think it's like a celebration that the ark's there. Then David returned to bless his household, and Michal the daughter of Saul came out to meet David and said, "How glorious was the king of Israel today, uncovering himself today in the eyes of his maids, of the maids of his servants, as one of the base fellows shamelessly uncovers himself." And I think I've missed a bit actually, because I think it does say earlier on. Sorry, going to quickly jump back. Earlier when he was dancing, it says Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through the window and saw King David leaping and whirling before the Lord, and she despised him in her heart. So yeah, so it basically says when David was dancing, Michal, who was Saul's daughter, who I think David married actually. Saul was not a good king and tried to kill David many times. She sees him dancing with the Lord, and it says she despises him in her heart. And what that then, like, I mean, we never know what's going on in each other's heart, but obviously when someone comes and says something to you, you get the message. She comes and says to him, and I'm assuming this is like sarcastic when it says, "How glorious was the king of Israel today." Yeah, I think that is because then she then goes on to say, uncovering himself today in the eyes of the maids of his servants, as one of the fellows shamelessly uncovers himself. So she's basically getting on the bandwagon that would be expected, in my opinion, which is just like, act like a king basically. Why are you dancing in your underwear? You're meant to be important, etc. So this to me is like one of the revealing characteristics of David, is David was always more concerned with what God thought and what God was going to do than man. And to me this is wisdom, because if God is God, like whether you have faith or not, I think you'll agree with me, if there is a God and he is God Almighty, what does it really matter what men think and what men are going to persecute with you than what God can do? The way Paul puts it in the New Testament is he says, why fear those who can merely harm the outer body? I will fear the one who can destroy my soul. So if God at the very uttering of his breath can utterly destroy you, I'm going to be more afraid of him than any Saddam Hussein or Hitler. Do you know what I mean? Because God plays like the long-term game. Do you know what I mean? He's there for eternity. So yeah, David then says to Michal, "It was the Lord who chose me instead of your father and all his house to appoint me ruler. Therefore I will play music before the Lord, and I will be even more undignified than this, and will be humble in my own sight. But as for the maidservants of whom you have spoken, by them I will be held in honour." Therefore Michal the daughter of Saul had no children to the day of her death. So yeah, like if there was ever a comeback, that was it. And he says, "I will be more undignified than this." I think, sick guy. Do you know what I mean? I want to follow this guy into battle because, like, I don't know, the way he looks at things is incredible, and I think that's why he had mighty men and was awesome, because the way he saw things was no compromise all the way. I am God's boy, you know what I mean? I am God's man. And he says, "I'll be more undignified than this." And it says that the maidservants, that he was going to be held in honour by the maidservants, basically saying that actually I'm going to be recognised for what I've done today, which is worship God, not for acting the fool, in the words of Ludacris. So yeah, and then it says she doesn't have a baby till the end of death. It doesn't say that God did that or anything, but to me, I don't think they'd mention it unless it was linked in some way. And I have heard many preachers preaching it. I think it's true that you don't come up against God's anointed. You don't want to despise if God's asked someone to do something or is for someone. You don't want to be on the other end, basically. So yeah, that's that. Sorry, I've probably gone over a little bit, and I tend to jump back and forward in my posts, so I hope that's not too confusing. Don't know if I said this at the beginning, but Liz and Joe, loving the posts. Keep them coming. I look forward so much to seeing them. And again, yeah, sorry that this is a bit late. If anyone watching this wants to join our channel, give us a message or something, and I'm sure we can get that sorted. But yeah, much love. Speak to you soon.